guys, here your girl Luna Trish Oscura, and I want to do a video about asking how did you get into your spirituality? How did you fall into the tarot community? How did you start with tarot? I know that for a lot of people it's because it was someone, in the family. It was something that it's more traditional, where they're very pagan. For me, it was not the case. For me, I fell into tarot because I've always had the attraction for the occult, even as a very, very young child. But the thing with me was I always wanted to get a tarot reading. I always wanted to get one. They were always so fucking expensive. Like, if I was to ask it for a tarot reading, let's say at the Renaissance, and this was a couple of years ago, like way before I started, doing my tarot readings, they're like, oh yeah, it starts at $50. And I'm like, fuck, $50? And I don't even know if it's going to be real or not. I was like you guys. If you are a person that's barely coming in to try to feel your way around as a client and trying to purchase a tarot reading, this video is for you. Because I was like you and most of you people that are untrusting of saying, hey, is this worth my money? Is this, real? Is it just, all hocus pocus? And, wanting to know if it was real, first of all. So since I could never find someone at that time, because this was like years ago, like I want to say more than 5 years ago. I still hadn't found the tarot community on YouTube or anything. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy my own tarot deck. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Where am I gonna find one? I had, and it just so happened that I was in Barnes and Nobles because I love to read. I'm a book nerd. I love books. I love journals. I love all that kind of, all that jazz. People that tend to love this kind of lifestyle really are always into, journaling, sketching, very artsy fartsy, very, very, very artsy. So I was there and I was like, oh my God, like they have a section for this. And I didn't even know what I was looking for. I just know that I knew the tarot by the Smith, Waiter Smith. I can never pronounce that name. I'm sorry. You know the gist of the original, the Waiter Smith. So the art didn't appeal to me at all. I was really intrigued by the card of the Magician. But other than that, I was just like put off. Like, I thought it was very 70-ish to me, or I don't know. It looked very old to me. Like, I didn't vibe with it at all. And I read the book, and the good thing is that I got my first tarot and it was really cheap. Like, it was, I think, less than $20, or I think it was actually like $15, and it was a box set that actually included, the tarot cards and a full-size book that came, their companion book. And inside it had one of those posters that you fold out, and it has the Celtic cross on there. Which I was like, what the fuck? I have no idea what the fuck I'm going to do with that. But that's besides the point. So I had it, and I felt like I was a kid with something so naughty, like a Playboy under my bed or something. Because I was like, I don't know, in my mid-30s. I shouldn't have been worried about that. But because of the way I was raised and just worried, like I just saw Rose's video that we so much vibe, because she had the same thing happen to her, where she was, raised very Christian, and her husband kind of was put off, like, what are you inviting in the house? The same thing happened to me. So I had it under covers, under wraps, hidden away, and I was, like having that. It was like, I could totally understand why people have affairs, because to have a secret is kind of very delicious. It's very delicious. It's something just for you. So I was totally loving that. And just the thing of having the secret was really cool. But when I was trying to connect with the cards, when I was reading for myself, because I was, just trying to practice, like, how in the hell am I going to learn 78 meanings? And then if you do reversals, learn them in reversals and spreads and all the zodiac signs and astrology signs and, the element signs. And it was just overwhelming. So it totally turned me off. totally turned me off. I still didn't know if it was real or not until I ran into a YouTuber, I want to say like 6 months after I had purchased my tarot card. And like, again, like Rose says, the YouTuber probably doesn't even know that I'm alive, and I love her dearly, and I still follow her. I love her. I feel like she saved my life too, because when she put herself out there and did her videos and was putting her experiences and her love and for tarot and all of her spirituality out there, that is something very personal. I mean, you have to understand that as putting a YouTube video out there, people are gonna, put that they don't like it, or they're gonna put something stupid, and that's gonna affect you, especially as an empath. I want to say it's not gonna affect me. I know it's gonna affect me, but I'm gonna have to be putting on my big girl panties and saying, fuck it, what it is, what it is. But when she came across and I saw that video, and I could just imagine myself, if I would have been looking in a mirror, my eyes must have dilated. I was just like a deer caught in headlights. When she said that she had been a Jehovah's Witness and she was doing tarot, I was just like, this is the video I was waiting for. This is the video I needed to come across. It all went into it was Pandora's box opened, and it was a tunnel of Alice's falling into the rabbit hole and finding tunnels and tunnels and tunnels and not knowing how to get back out, because it was so wonderful. It was just a breath of fresh air, where it was just like, how can this be that this is like what my heart's been desiring all this time, and I didn't know that I was gonna be okay with it, that I had to learn to let go of my dogma and my teachings and my inculcated brainwashed JW brain, that I was talking to demons, that I was summoning stuff that I shouldn't have. And it was just a breath of fresh air, and it came into my life right in the time where I was in my mid-30s, and it was the time where I was already rebelling against religion. I had rebelled against religion. I already had turned my back on religion, on JWs, where I'm what they call us, the apostates. So I was already probably considered an apostate, even though they haven't said it to my face, because they haven't seen me in years. They will probably call me that now, so I don't give a shit. Anyhow, it was just a time where I had already put myself to distance myself from anyone who was negative. It didn't matter who it was. I'm not a person that is very big on having a huge amount of friends, as all most Pisces are, as all most introverts are, and empaths are. I'm an empath, Pisces, intuitive, clairvoyant, introverted, bookworm, homebody, all that into a mixture, And so we don't have big circles of friends. I mean, if I could avoid the party, I will look for every fucking excuse under the moon. I am so glad now that I have this, tarot thing going, because I'm like, I'm busy, I'm doing readings. And that's what passions me. And that gets me out of, nope, I'm not going because I'm busy and I'm doing a tarot reading. Regardless, But the more and more I saw videos of YouTubers that I started to follow, but hers religiously, learn the tarot from her, even seeing other tarot readers, it was just wonderful to me, because she even explained the part of the art. She said, hey, if you don't vibe with a deck, there's a shitload more decks out there that you could vibe with. And if you like the other ones, if you like the other ones, go and get yourself another deck. And I was like, other ones? I don't remember seeing more tarot decks. Like, I have no idea what the hell this person, is talking about. And she started showing all her decks, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm a shopaholic. I probably hoard. Because if one is good, if you find something you love, get in one in each color because you love it. Kind of person, and kind of vibe. But there's some mosquito in here. I'm in my RV. It's kind of warm. It's kind of warm today here in Texas. It is 79 degrees, which is awesome, because usually it's hotter than hell. But yeah, after having that winter storm and shit, it's like, wow, And Anyhow, it was amazing to know that there were so many other tarot decks, and that there were oracle decks, and there was runes, and there was crystals. And because I had already been collecting rocks since a very young child. I didn't know that you could go to rock shops and that they had crystals and all this, but I knew that my stone was an amethyst, and I was always drawn to the amethyst. I was always like, if we went to rivers or lakes or anything, I would look for like special looking rocks that called out to me, and I would bring them. If we were visiting Mexico, I would bring them back with me. And my mom's like, why would you have this rock that you, it's beautiful to me. Let it be. It's my baby. Let it stay there. And that's how that's how I was already. I mean, it was this path, and this witchy life of mine was already there for it was already there to start with, like a very young child. But if you saw my other video before this one, where I'm talking, what kind of type of tarot reader you are and such like that. And then I have another one before that one that's a lot older, from last year. I want to say it's early 2017, where I'm talking about being a medium and such. It was always there. It was just something that I couldn't explore because of my race, how I was being raised. And I was very afraid of pissing off my mother. So when I had to separate myself from people that were very negative around me, sad to say, it wasn't friends, sad to say, it was your own close family members that I had to step away from and say, I can't deal with it. Like, I even went so far that I was going to therapy, and the therapist told me, do you need me to give you verbal permission to step away from the energy that your mother is with you? She said, she is toxic in your life. She is, what does, what good comes out of it when you see her? What good comes out of it? Do you see anything good coming out of the relationship? And I'm like, no. She said, well, you don't have to shut her out. You can still talk to her on the phone, maybe once a month or something. I don't want to get into all that sobby shit, but it was just weird that I had to step away from that. I was already coming into this path not knowing that I was already preparing my life to do that. I was stepping away from religion. I was getting rid of the people that were toxic. I was trying to come into my own, because like I said in my video before, I am very hippie. That is in my freaking sign as a Pisces. I want to say that if a hippie person married and had a baby with a bohemian indie style hobo-ish hobo-ish and had a baby, that's me. Like, I could mix in all the stuff, and sometimes it doesn't even look good put together, and might look like a boho look, like a not a boho look, because a boho look, I mean, that's, bohemian style is a style, but not so much as all dressed up as a bohemian style, but more as like, oh my god, you look like a homeless person. That's what makes me feel good. That's what makes me feel me. It's like I'm showing you the inside of my soul and my brain and such with my clothes. And I couldn't dress like that for the most of my life, because even though I was sneaking in, I felt that society didn't accept me. I didn't hang around with anyone all of my life that had those kind of vibes. I was alone. I was a lonely duck in this path of mine. And I was always feeling that there was a part of me missing, that there was a part of me that wasn't shining the way I wanted it to shine, because I was ashamed of it, and I had to hide it. And it was my spirituality with the esoteric, and it was my personality letting it shine through, and letting myself be adorned with the pieces of clothes and jewelry that make me feel beautiful, like truly beautiful. If it doesn't vibe with everybody, I could probably trying to dress as more casual as everybody else, and I'm still gonna have somebody say you're not dressed well enough to someone's taste. So why give a shit? Why not just do what you really, really love? When it gets complicated for me, it's because my criticism is the most important, is my husband's criticism, because I want to look beautiful for my husband. And if he's like tone it down, that he doesn't, because he's a little bit more conservative than I am, that really hurts. It hurts, and I know he doesn't mean it in a negative way, but I can't help to have it in the back of my mind and feel the negative feelings. Which guilt for me has been a huge thing, that it's a factor with everything. My kids will guilt trip me. My mother used to guilt trip me. My husband guilt trips me. I feel that everyone that wants something from me will guilt trip me. And I had to put that energy aside and say, I can't fucking do that anymore. I can't try to be everything for everyone else and keep putting myself in the, in the back burner or in the back seat, because I'm feeling miserable, and it's starting to show in my behavior of how I'm snapping at everybody, because I'm not content. If the soul is not content, you're gonna do your work half-assed, and that's just what started to happen. So once I came into my own and said, you know what, I'm gonna study this, I'm gonna study hard, I'm gonna let people know on the down low that I was doing tarot, because I was doing it very intimately. I only branched out at the end of the 2017. I want to say the end of 2017, right? I think at the end of summer, I want to say that's when I started to do public telling people publicly that they could come and have readings with me over the phone and such. But I was keeping it really on a down low, because I still hadn't communicated none of my lifestyle to my mother, even though she hadn't been in my life in over 3 years. I felt that if I kept this occult side quiet and under wraps, that it would be respectful to her, but it was just killing me inside. And there's another video that I want to do about that, why particularly I just jumped out and had to do it, because it was just a calling to me. But yeah, so I essentially got into tarot because I thought, I don't know if it's real. People are charging way too much money. They didn't have this that we offer now, where we have $10 readings, $15 readings. I mean, if somebody would have offered me a $10 reading, $15 reading, even a $25 reading, I would have jumped on that. I would have jumped on it, because I would have said, hey, it's not that much. I could afford to throw that money and see if it's real or not. So when I started to come into this, I said, I'm going to charge a decent price right from the get-go, because I want the person to have that opportunity that I didn't have. When I started to read the tarot, when I started to read it for more people, especially for people that I had never seen in my life, that friends would recommend. My friend wants a tarot reading from you. They're going to pay me and I'll pay you. And, I'm going to give you your phone number, and they would call me and they would just give me their date of birth, because I connect to their date of birth and having their first name, so I can know who to refer to. But I usually call my clients by their zodiac sign. That's just how I do it. And, because I suck with names, so, fuck that. But, yeah, so when I started doing tarot readings for people, I remember this tarot reading so vividly last year. It was just one of my wake up calls that this is real. Like, it was, I had already been reading tarot for a while, but usually people that I didn't really know were not giving me feedback. And I feel that when you give free tarot readings, they're not appreciated. So I totally stopped doing that, because you give something for free, they're like, it's probably not even good. I feel like, you know what? I stopped that. I stopped the free tarot readings, because they did not appreciate them enough. It wasn't that they weren't understanding the tarot, the reading, or that they weren't vibing with it, because they would be like, oh my God, that's true. How did you know that? And they will be intrigued and whatever. I always want people to take a few days to really pay attention to the reading, to kind of sit with it, because some things do not click on the same day. Some things take a few days, a few weeks, when you're like, damn, that's what they were telling me about. So it'll click. But sometimes right away it doesn't hit. So I was like, doing them on Facebook, free Facebook tarot readings, and I was like, can you please, the only thing that I'm asking you is to give me feedback. They would give me like 2, 3, or 4 words, and it was just so irritating to me. I was just so fucking fed up with that. But this particular, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago. I'm bad with dates. All I could tell you that I read for this guy, it was one of my husband's co-workers or someone that he knew that he gave my number to, and he wanted to kind of test him out to say, well, what does your wife do? Like, really? She's a tarot reader. Ooh, boo hoo. All that woo woo, kind of like he was making fun of him. And I told my husband, well, you don't have to tell people that if you don't feel comfortable, because I didn't want to put him on the spot. And he's like, oh no, I told him and I don't give a shit, but he now wants you to do a tarot reading. So just FYI, if you fuck it up and you don't give him like precise information, he's gonna make my life at work a living hell. So it was just so much writing on it. Like, now it was a paid one from a total stranger that my husband knew that was gonna have a whiplash against my husband, not just me, that was writing on it. And I was so nervous. I remember doing the tarot reading twice. Like, one night I did it and I did like a Celtic spread to kind of see everything, because he didn't ask a question. He said that his life was badass, that he had everything he wanted. Okay, so he was I knew he was already testing me out. Even if my husband wouldn't have told me that he was testing me, I already knew just by the question, because I talked to him on the phone. It's like, whatever comes up, comes up. Stuff from the past, stuff from the future, stuff that's happening now. Give it to me straight. I don't care what it is. Okay, so I did a Celtic spread, kind of hit with everything, home life, work. And I remember that thing where everybody says, listen to your intuition, really listen to your intuition. If something doesn't look like what the meaning does in the card, because that's why we have so many tarot decks, like something pulls you to pick out this deck for this person. What kind of deck do I want with them? And you kind of zone out and you pick out that deck for him. That's the deck that wanted to talk to him, because they're going to show him some stuff. I picked two different ones. A darker themed deck, just to give me all the truth and the juicy dark shit that whatever was he hiding. And then I can't remember the name of the darker deck. I need to look for that darker deck, because it was a badass one too. But the one that was like really precise on him is the Green Witch Tarot. When I saw the cards, I think I did the darker deck first and then the Green Witch Tarot the next day before I talked to him. And the first thing that I told him is like, do you have a daughter? And he started to just choke on his own words. He was just like, wait a minute, what did you ask? I said, usually when I do a tarot reading, I go card by card and I explain like the layout, like what card you got at what position, and what I think it's the meaning and what's putting it, piecing it together. But dude, I just want to ask you, because this little girl is so persistent. She comes out and she wants to say, hey, I'm here. She's just like coming at me, like, show me, talk about me, I'm here, acknowledge me. And I was just like, okay. So does she ask you for a lot of things? Like, is she always asking you for money, like money for clothes or toys or stuff? Because I mean, she seems to be like a very young little girl, but maybe she's already at that age where she knows how to talk or something. I don't know. I'm asking you. So does she ask you for money? Is it something that, is there a daughter? He was like, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you started off this conversation this way. He said, but I do have a daughter. And she doesn't ask me for things because she's very little. She's a baby still. I said, oh, okay. So maybe the mother is the mother asking you continuously for money. He said, keep going with the reading. And he's like, I'm going to tell you what is it that you're hitting on. So like on the nail. I was like, damn, well, I'm curious too. So I tell him, are you afraid that your wife is going to know something, that you're keeping a secret from her, that you're even afraid that she might be pregnant? Because it shows me that is your wife pregnant at the moment, or are you trying to get pregnant? Because I see her as being pregnant. There's two cards that are just screaming at me that she's pregnant, and that you're kind of afraid of something being said to her, that you're either afraid of her having another child, because you just said that your baby is little, so maybe it's not the right time. But continuing with the reading, we were talking about him having, issues with having that little girl, with money, with his job. Like, his job was on point. He was very successful. He was definitely getting he was definitely getting scolded by an older sister, because I had the Queen of Swords at one of the positions where I said, there's an older woman. I don't know if it's your mother or your aunt or an older sister that gives it to you straight. Like, she knows some stuff in your life, and she's just like, you shouldn't be doing that, and you know better, and you're freaking old enough to know the shit that you're doing that's not correct or something. He's like, yeah, that's my older sister. So he said, he was like, let me backtrack, because he's like, I can't wrap my brain around with what you just told me. I said, well, what did I tell you? Give me back some information. And he said, that little girl that you're talking about is a love child. She's a love child that I have outside my marriage, that I just recently got married. Number one. The fear of the money, that being asked about the money, and the fear and the secret being the love child anyway. That too is that the mother of the baby girl was asking for child support. So if she asked for child support through court, it was going to show up on his check stub or something, and his wife would eventually see that and know that he had child support. So the asking of the money wasn't the little girl, it was the mother. And he said, my wife is 4 days late. So if you're saying she's pregnant and she's 4 days late, she's pregnant. I asked him, can you please, because people never say they will and they never do, can you hit me up and let me know if she's pregnant? So I did a reading Friday, and he let me know Tuesday that in fact his wife was pregnant. So when that reading happened, it was just like, this is the kind of readings I want. I don't want to continue doing readings. Like, I'm okay with doing readings of, hey, let's work on, you, like, I have another client that I talk to, and I tell her, you have to change the way you want to change your lifestyle, because the cards keep telling you, like, there is people that you have to tell them, hey, you need to pay attention to the signs. You need to pay attention to yourself. You need to focus on not overspending money that you shouldn't be spending. You need to focus on being more there at home. There is things that have to be like that, but I love and I live for the readings that hit it, that tell you, this is what happened in the past. This is the root of it. This is why you're in this situation now, and what's crossing you because of the situation. And this is what's your crown thoughts. And this is the energy that you're going into in this future if this continues in this cycle. And all of that. And when it's hitting, like with jobs, of getting laid off, or a sickness, or dealing with court, or dealing with infidelity, or dealing with a love child and stuff like that, that is some juicy, yummy stuff that I eat up, because I'm just like in awe still. Like, if I had any, like, before I used to think, okay, I'm having like just these little tarot readings here and there for all these people, but I know them. I know them, their friends, their family, whatever. I know these people, so essentially I know bits and pieces of their life. So I felt that would muddle it in a way for me. I thought it would muddy it up. So when I get people that are complete strangers, I've never seen them, because I too am the person that I'm an empath. I do not want to be in the same room with the client unless I have to. Because my readings are more precise here in my own space, where I'm by myself, I'm in the zone, I'm closed up, I'm just looking at my esoteric stuff, and having my candles here, my crystals and my rocks, and my library of decks, and my incense going, and I could sage whenever I feel that I need to sage, and I could totally just shut down all of my other things, all of my other senses, and try to just click with my third eye and my auditory, like trying to really listen to what's coming in. That is where I shine. I don't need you in person. People tell me, how are you going to read for me if you're way over there and I'm way over here? Honey, dude, girl, boy, whatever. That's how I read. That's how a lot of readers read, because we're empaths. We're so in touch with your energy. It's crazy where we're like, take your shit back because I don't want to keep it anymore. Unless it's a really good energy, then I want to hang around with that one a little longer. But that's why I came into the tarot, where I actually bought tarot and started doing tarot readings, because I felt that I wanted to know that it was real. I wanted to know what was up with the tarot, you know. I wanted to know if, you know, if it was worth the money, and because I felt that people were charging too much for me to go get one and not know if it was gonna be real. No way, no way, no how. I said I'd rather read. So I studied, and I love to study. So it was something that I was studying on the daily. So I got really good at it really quick. And it was just that ego, the ego that I couldn't let go of, because I wanted to perfect it. I wanted to perfect it. I didn't want to stutter. I didn't want to zone out, and I had to embrace that. I am dyslexic. I do have adult ADD. I've had ADD all of my life. And talking Spanish and English, having two languages, being raised with speaking two languages, you're already doing the Spanglish crap. So doing the Spanglish on top of having ADD and on top of being dyslexic, my shit comes out backwards sometimes. So delivery sometimes gets fucked up and mumbled, but that's when I need to step back and kind of say, okay, let's breathe. And let me rethink how I want to deliver this so that the person can understand perfectly clear as day, what is being said in the reading. And when I see that thing come on where they're like, oh my God, that is just exactly right. Yes, it's an ego boost. It's an ego boost, but we need it. We need not just an ego boost. We need to know that we're hitting it on the nail. Because if we're not, what's the purpose? I wouldn't want to leave a place and say, oh crap, I had no idea what that person told me. Like I've had 2 paid readings ever. One was a YouTuber that she already quit doing tarot. That's how good she was. She quit doing tarot, but she had a real good following. I'm not naming any names, but she's not on there anymore. At least not doing tarot readings. And the second reading that I got was with Rose from the Cackling Moon. That it was a slow snail mail reading, and it was really precise. I loved it. I still have it. I appreciated that she had copies of the cards and she had handwritten it, and it was totally like awesome to me. And then getting it in the mail, it was just very, very exciting. So those are the only 2, because with the first one I had to wait 2 weeks to get my reading, because you were having, you know, she had so many clients and you had to wait 2 weeks. When she did my reading, I didn't get a picture of my reading. I didn't get an audio recording of my reading or a video recording of my reading. I don't even remember the reading. I was just so excited. And I paid $55 for that reading. I thought it was really fucking expensive, but something had pulled me to her. And I wish I would have not said a particular question, like how is my business gonna, you know, is it gonna get off the, you know, launch and get off the ground. But I would have preferred to have asked for a general reading to hit on all the spots, because I think I would have appreciated that more. Being that I asked the question, it was like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be good. Yeah, so you have this wonderful thing, yada yada yada, bye. I was very unimpressed. I was very let down. It was just like, fuck, I'm a newbie and I could do better than this. Like, I wouldn't have not given that to my client, but you know, you'll learn. You'll have experiences and you'll learn. But I don't want to keep this video so long, because I probably have to edit out some little crap that I did that you probably won't know by the time I edit out. And this is the first, and it's hot in here. I need to open some windows and turn on a fan, because fuck, I'm hot. But totally appreciate you, Rose, from Cackling Moon, for giving me a shout out on Instagram. And then I saw the video. I caught you kind of late when you were doing your Instagram live yesterday with the full moon. I hope everybody had an amazing full moon, blue moon. Blessings for last night. I was outside most of the night. I had a fire going. I had, you know, we were outside. We had the telescope out. We were looking at the moon, taking pictures, doing our letting our stuff go for 2017 and burning, you know, letting that go, doing that kind of work, and asking, you know, manifesting what we wanted to bring in. And my two sons were out there with me because they're like, "Oh, we saw you through your window and you look so sad because you're all here all by yourself." And I was like, "Dudes, I wasn't alone. I love being alone. I wasn't lonely." So they came out, and I was, you know, appreciative because I want to have that, you know, quality time with my children, and they participated with me. They helped me, you know, do the petitions and everything, and I was so very grateful for them. Well, if you enjoyed this, subscribe and, you know, hit that like button, do all the stuff that everybody else says, yada, yada, yada. And that'll be it. Bye, guys.